Hi, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome to the beginning of the 2020 Summer Mini Skein mini-series. Or maybe it's the Summer Mini Skein Swatching series. But we are going to play around with a lot of different types of food coloring over the course of the next few nights and have a lot of fun dyeing some yarn. In order to dye yarn with food coloring, you need a protein-based yarn. Wool is a really great fiber to use. You need the artificial food coloring, you need acid, and then you need heat. And then you can combine these all together in many different ways to create beautiful colors on yarn. Tonight we are going to look at several different varieties of Easter egg dyeing kits and look at the colors of the tablets within these kits. Are they different between a classic, pastel, or neon situation, all from one brand? This is something that I've been really curious about for a long time, and I'm really excited to finally get some answers. Normally, it does not really matter what kind of Easter egg tablets you have. They usually have the same number of colors. So when I'm purchasing them, I tend to look for the number of dye tablets versus all the other things in the kits, because more expensive kits often just have more stickers and things like that. But it's unclear. I doubt that there's actually pastel tablets. My hypothesis is that these tablets are the exact same as tablets that say would be in the color cup. And I'm unsure if the tablets in the neon color are the same or different from the standard. I mean, it does say neon color cups. The actual cups are different colors, but are the tablets different colors? The one thing of hope is that this does say 5 neon dye tablets, so maybe? Finally, to round things out, I have a classic kit that is one of the ones that I use a lot. This is one of the 9 tablet kits, so let's take a look at those colors as well. If we look at the instructions for the classic kit and the standard kit, I think that the big difference is that the classic kit recommends a time in the dye of about 5 minutes, and the pastel recommends anywhere from 15 to 45 seconds. Maybe it's not about pastel colors at all, but rather the instructions to help you achieve those pastel colors. Which ultimately, it's still fine, it's still fair, but let's take a look and see if those tablets are just as pigmented, or maybe they might be less pigmented. It just so happens that in these 4 kits, we have 25 tablets total. And one package of the Platinum Sock Mini Skeins from Wool to Dye For has 25 skeins. So that's pretty handy. And we're gonna set up individual cool vats so that way we can dye 1 mini skein in each color of the dye tablets. I pre-soaked all of the mini skeins in some plain tap water for a couple of hours. I don't quite have enough of these takeout containers. Everything is food safe. In theory, I could use these little egg cups, but they don't have enough volume to really fit a 20-gram mini skein. So that's why I'm going to spread things out and plus use things that can have a lid so I can stack it. Now, I also am going to need to use some of these containers just because there's, they don't have enough space. The first thing that I have to do is add 1 cup of plain tap water to every container. We will be adding vinegar later on, but we're going to start off by dissolving these dye tablets. The yarn we're using today is 75% Superwash Merino, 25% Nylon. Now I'm going to start adding tablets. The quote standard color cups that had 5 colors have are probably the same shades as the 9 color tablets, so I'm going to put those, oh dear, into the black containers on the side. Next up we have our 9 color classic kit. There was a time when this 9 color classic kit was only 6 tablets, and then it was a deluxe kit that had 9, but at some point in the last like 2 to 3 years they changed that. And so in this we have a teal. This is pretty interesting for me because in the past some of my classic kit dye tablets had like a bright blue like this and then a deeper blue. But this one actually now has 3 greens. We've got sort of like this deeper green, what looks like a more yellow green, and then it's definitely a teal color. So that is actually kind of interesting to me. Next up are the 6 pastel colors, which I am going to place in this row next to me. I think that these are probably going to be the same as 1, 2 of those 6. These 3 are the like extra deluxe colors. But you never know. You never know until we see it. It's possible that the actual hues could be different overall. Even if they're the same intensity as some of those, it might not be the exact same shades. Finally, with our neon colors, this is what the packet looks like. Honestly, it doesn't look that different to me, but we will see. One of the points of this is honestly just for a little bit of fun, but it is also interesting to know if you want to go out and buy Easter egg dye tablets. But yeah, I am curious. Well, I'm curious to see if this pink is going to be different from that pink. It's possible that there could be a little more color intensity here, but again, I don't really know. And the back of those boxes were black and white, so they didn't have like a color prediction you could look at. But right now, those right now they're looking quite similar to me. Now I wanted to gently sort of rock everything to mix it up a little bit, like you'd seen me do on a few previously. I could take spoons, but I really don't want to try not to cross-contaminate the colors. I don't need the tablets to be completely dissolved before we add the yarn. It's more about a hue question here today, but yeah, let's get to it. I sort of chickened out with my plan to shimmy and decided to go and actually stir up each of the containers with a spoon, wiping it off in between to try to not contaminate the colors. I bought all 4 of these packets this year, so they are all fresh, but I did notice that as I was stirring things up, the tablets are definitely dissolving at different rates, and we've been in water for a few minutes. I mean, there's no heat or anything, but it has been taking a while. So once we add the yarn, there might be some variation. Some might be more tonal, some might have more extreme variation, but we will see. So right off the bat, I can say with some confidence that the neon kit is definitely different from, I think, a classic kit. This blue, it's possible a little deepen, but it could be that brighter blue versus the bright and deep blue that I used to see. This has definitely got the more yellow green, which was in the packet of 3, versus the deeper green. And yeah, so I think that these 5 colors are likely different than those 5. We just can't see what those 5 colors are yet to know for sure. But you can see the greens do look fairly different over here. And even, I guess, the blues do look different so far. So there might actually be a difference. Now it was time for me to add the yarn to all of them. I gently squeezed out the excess liquid and then added 1 skein to each pot. And yeah, went on for the next and the next and the next. Again, there's likely going to be some variation, but what we're more curious about today is the actual tone. Is it a brighter green, or is there like a big extreme difference between the colors? One thing is for certain, is that the 6 pastel that are the closest to me, so that are the closest to the top of the screen, those don't look very pastel. We haven't even finished dyeing the yarn yet, and we can definitely make some initial conclusions. All 6 of these pastel colors, ooh, are these the same? Yeah, they look the same. All 6 of the pastel colors match up with the package of 6 colors from our 9 color set. The only difference there is the amount of time it recommends leaving the eggs in. It's the instructions that are different, not the colors. Which means that if you see pastel kits on sale, go for it and get them. The neon kit is actually different from the classic and from like these classic colors. The notable difference, the blue might be the same. The green, it's definitely drawing from that extra 3-pack of color. And the orange, I'm not sure yet. It might feel a little bit more yellow. I don't know for sure. So we'll have to see if the blue is different. I'm definitely missing the old deep blue. I'll have a link to my Easter egg dyeing playlist in the video description. I really, really like this turquoise color. It's just sort of new. Maybe like one of these is new, but there definitely used to be 2 things that I classified more as blue. Now it is time for us to add acid. And I'm going to add a whole tablespoon of white vinegar to each of these containers. If you've watched any of my other Easter egg dye tablet videos, you'll know that I now add a lot of acid. And this is because Easter egg dye tablets contain sodium bicarbonate, which is basic and raises the pH, and so therefore the colors won't start striking until you counteract that and lower the pH. Originally, when I started with my very first videos, I had some tablets that contained citric acid in there, so I didn't need quite as much vinegar, but trust me, you're gonna want a lot of vinegar. Oh man, it's possible that I partitioned exactly, pretty close to exactly as much vinegar as I needed. Now, I mentioned that we're going to be doing a cool vat technique, which means that we're going to leave these all in these solutions to sit for a while. The color that might strike the fastest might be some of these pinks. I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother mixing them up right now. Again, I don't mind if we see things that are fairly tonal. But now I'm going to go ahead and add lids onto all of these containers. I am going to do my best to keep them in sets, but you know, we're going to do our best and we're curious to see what the final colors are. It's possible I might end up wanting to add more vinegar, but we'll wait at least a day or 2 and check to see how these are going. And once the color has absorbed from the various containers onto the yarn, then we can go ahead and steam set it. But doing it this way means that I don't have to use a dye bath and do things one after another with fresh water, so this is simpler. Now I am going to go set these aside, preferably in a place without any direct sunlight, and we're going to leave it there for a couple of days. I will select, and of course, you know, I'm not treating all these identically, but I will go and periodically go and check in on one color or another. But if we need to, maybe in 30 hours or so, we can go ahead and add more vinegar to each of these containers. I grabbed some of these surprise packs and I was so excited until I realized something. The thing that's a surprise is not the colors, like I kind of expected. It's the egg-arounds. Those are what vary. But by looking at this color combo, it does seem to be a different combination than some of the other kits we played with today. There's no purple, but we do have that red, which otherwise I only had seen in the 9-tablet kit. I set this project up on a Saturday or Sunday, and it's now a Thursday, so I've gone a bit longer. I did check after 24 hours and there was still some pigment in some of these cups, but we're gonna take a full look today. Right here we have our classic 5 color cups, our neon color cups, which we know are different, the 9 color classic kit, and then our 6 color pastel kit, which we know isn't pastel. It's very similar to what we see with the classic colors. Here are the neon colors. A couple of these got shaken up over the time, but I don't think that this particular set did. Okay, that yellow is clear. The green is clear. Pink, it looks like there's some staining on the cup, but that's pretty clear. Orange, okay, okay, and our blue. There's some color left. Whoa, we've got some like big variation. Whoa, wow. That was not anywhere close to dissolved, was it? But overall, I would say that these are fairly reasonably like absorbed, and now we can try to steam set them. I squeezed out most of the liquid from those 5 cups, place them in a microwave safe dish. I'm going to add on a silicone cover, and I'm going to go microwave this on high for probably 2 to 4 minutes using 2-minute increments until the yarn is piping hot. This final steaming is a good formality to do because we want to make sure that the colors are set. And I do microwave until things are piping hot, but I don't go much further beyond that. I do want to pick this up and just say I'm not seeing any, ooh, that's hot. I'm not seeing any color transfer of any like of that residual blue onto the pink or green. Obviously we will check that again. I'm going to try to keep each set separate for the washing stage, but this did work pretty well. I think that if I were to do this again, I might put the tablets in and leave them maybe even overnight to dissolve completely, but I still think that we have a really fun palette. Now I'm going to shift to going off camera and do this again and again for all of the remaining samples. I guess we've got 20 more samples to do. I do think I can probably fit 6 in a bowl, so I will be trying to do that, but if I notice anything super unusual, I will pop back in to show you. I noticed a tiny bit of transfer in a couple of them. It is really subtle, but we've got some green speckles on our yellow, and maybe I noticed something on the pink, I don't remember, but I'll try to point that out when I see it. I haven't set them yet, but here are the 9 colors from our classic kit, and it's looking very, very green heavy. It stands to reason that that would be the dominant color that we see a lot. I'm still gonna have to go back and pull out maybe the yarn where I did crayon colors of all of them, but I do think it was blue more than a teal. But since I haven't tried it out and since I haven't looked at them individually quite like this, maybe that's why it seems different to me. You know how I thought there was a difference between the neon and the classic? Or maybe this is the neon and the classic. I did write on the label. Yeah, since the classic color cups were in the black dishes, I couldn't compare them completely. But it's starting to look to me like the difference might just be the color of the actual cups. What a disappointment! Yeah, I labeled the neon. The orange in the classic might be more pigmented than the orange in the neon, but the blues are the same. The green, maybe there's a slight pigmentation difference, but I don't think that this is the same green that is the less lime green in the classic 9-color kit. The 2 greens in the classic kit are super, super similar. So we'll take a closer look at it after the yarn has dried, but maybe that's that one and this is this one, but we'll see. Now I need to start washing. As I mentioned, I did put zip ties on so that way I can keep the different sets labeled and separated for us to do comparisons in the end. But when it's time to actually turn these into some fade sets, I will be mixing up from all the different kits. I'm going to add some clear dish soap, but I'm not anticipating any bleeding. I think where some of the bleeding happened was, maybe there was a tiny bit of color that wasn't completely set. And yeah, there's no color in our water. I am going to rinse out the water, put the yarn through my spin dryer, and then hang everything up to dry. I went back and looked at some old videos, and to me there's no question that in kits that used to come with 9 colors, there was a green, there was a more blue-green, then there was a bright blue, and then a deeper blue. And so it seems like there's this more grassy green that has replaced what the deeper blue was in the past. So these kits now appear to have 3 greens instead of 2 greens and 1 blue. So that's just something I wanted to point out. When it comes down to which kit to buy, ask yourself if you want to dye eggs, and so therefore you want the stickers and the extra things that come in there, or if you're just want the tablets because they're awesome to dye yarn. And that should really give you the choice. All 4 of these kits are so similar, but cost-wise, the classic kit with 9 tablets is $2, and the other ones were each $3. So for the value for your money, plus getting some additional colors, the classic kit is the way to go. There is no difference between the 6 colors in the pastel kit and the equivalent colors from the classic kit. They look really identical, and really the only difference are the instructions on the package to help you get those pastel colors. If we look at the neon color cups versus the, I guess just the color cups, it's hard to say. The pink does appear to be a bit more pigmented than the other pinks, and the orange does have a tiny bit more yellow than the orange that's present in the other kits. And likewise, the yellow is a little bit brighter. This is a little more golden, this is a little brighter. And this green also seems to be a tad brighter than the other green, but it's not as bright as the yellow green that is in the classic kit. So that difference really could be just based on the tonal nature. But, you know, maybe there's a slight difference in the blue as well. I mean, if you compare, yeah, the difference is pretty subtle. So this might be unique. But if you take a huge step back, do those differences for this neon kit really stand out? No, not at all. It might be more apparent, again, with dyeing eggs, but I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way to get the neon color cups. Unless, of course, if I find it on a clearance, sure, I might. But otherwise, the differences are so subtle that, again, it is more cost-effective to get that classic kit because you get more of a range of colors. Of course, these kits change from year to year. It used to be that the classic kits only came with 6 colors, and I think that's still why with the classic kits you see that they come with packages, a package of 6 and then a package of 3. Or maybe that's because that package of 6 is what they put in the pastel and some of these other kits that only have 6 tablets. Yeah, I just remember a day when the deluxe kits were what had those extra 3 colors that we really don't see these in these other kits. It's possible that they could be present in some other ones out there, but it seems just unique to what is now the classic kit. In general, if I wanted to dye semi-solid mini skeins, I might not go out of my way to buy Easter egg dye tablets. I would probably go and buy liquid food coloring just because it's more cost effective. But these tablets are amazing for doing different space dyeing techniques. Since we have that sodium bicarbonate in there and they take a while to dissolve, they spread because they raise the pH in the local area, which slows down the rate that the dyes can absorb, and it just makes it fun, unique, and a different way to play with food coloring and yarn. Don't forget that if you want to dye yarn with food coloring, you need to make sure you pick the right yarn. You need to have a wool or other protein-based fiber. This won't work on cotton or acrylic. I really want to highlight this so you're not disappointed. The other thing, you need to add a lot of acid. A lot of acid. In other videos where I say how much acid I use a ton more for this type of project. Doing this project really inspired me to play around with swatching some of the other food coloring I have on hand. So make sure you're subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the fun that's coming up. Since there are only 9 different colors, really 9 different distinct colors with some minor differences in these sets, this is the way that I've decided to break them up. You could definitely play around with this more as you're creating custom sets and even mix some of these colors. Dissolve the tablets completely and mix them so you can create your own custom hues. But this is the way that I have decided to break things up for this particular set. Originally, I had a completely different plan for a special series this summer, and we really shifted gears when the pandemic hit and school was canceled, and so I think I've still come up with something that I'm really, really proud of, and I think that there's a lot of really good information in each of these videos. Plus, we create some really, really stunning fade sets with food coloring, and hopefully if you have one of the sets, you're really excited to use it in a project. Please feel free to tag me on Instagram when you use your yarn. I'd love to see what you've created. Even with the vision being different, we have now answered a question that I've had all along. What is the difference between these different kits? And I sort of hypothesized the difference is mainly the instructions or maybe the extras that they have in there. They don't have like multiple different versions of these tablets they've created, which they should do. I would really like that. If you're already a huge fan of ChemKnits and want to support the channel on another level, go and check out the ChemKnits Patreon. Patrons can get some really cool perks, which include advance notice of shop restocks, which is great when you're waiting for me to open up pre-orders for another special set like this. So if you want to check out the Patreon, there is a link in the video description and in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Stay tuned for more videos because every night this week, in addition to our regularly scheduled programming, there will be a summer mini skein mini-series episode. And so what do you think we're going to create tomorrow night? Leave your predictions down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.